So money sucks, right? It's hard to get a lot of it. It almost always feels like you never have enough. And in an industry like film, it's arguably the most important part. Not in this video. I just went to the dollar store and bought 15 things that can help you create cinematic lighting, and all for under $50. Well, I did buy a bag and some other things that I needed, so it was like 56. But all of these things can help you achieve the look you're going for, and honestly, a lot of them worked out way better than I would have thought. Not for film, just for pleasure. Now it's got a matte side and a glossy side, $4, and then also grab the black one. It's a negative film. This is kind of cool because like this kind of looks like a Fresnel lens. I could technically, you could probably build like a filter to like put over the front of your light. I'm not that handy. So binder dividers. I've talked about it many times in videos. Blue, yellow, red, get any color you want for $1.25. Curtains. I'm thinking like maybe this could be a really good diffusion. Look at the Hogwarts poly bag. Small hand mirrors. Really good at reflecting light. And then maybe if I have like a stand or something and actually clamp onto the bottom and we can orient it that way. I don't think that's nearly powerful enough to literally do anything. Ring light on the other hand might actually be useful. Everyone's always trying to get soft light, right? Well, unfortunately, neither of the lights that we got are even close to being soft enough, so we have to use some of our other tools that we got to help achieve that. Obviously, there's a lot of different ways you can describe soft light, but in its essence, turning a really hard light soft just depends on how many surfaces it's coming in contact with. So, usually people will shoot it through diffusion, that's the whole reason for having a softbox, is having your really harsh light and shooting it through this diffusion, making it a much bigger source. But with this, the more things that your light has to bounce off of and has to shoot through means the dimmer that the light will actually be. So the strategy that you can see used here is what we call a book light. It's mainly just about creating that open book shape, that triangular shape, for the light to bounce in and reflect off of. Sometimes, using one bounce board isn't enough to create the look that you're going for. It's just not nearly soft enough. So the beauty of a book light is that you point your light towards that bounce board, it will reflect straight into a piece of diffusion. And so you've got two different sources that the light has to come in contact with before it can hit your face. So you can also see in this shot, I've got a beige shaded tablecloth clamped to the bounce board. There is a material called muslin that is commonly, super commonly used in the film industry as a way to bounce back warm light. As you can imagine, it's stupidly expensive, but what isn't is a tablecloth. So the whole purpose of having that tablecloth there is kind of just to act like that warm bounce, because the light that we were shooting into it was a very cool light. This wasn't exactly giving me as warm of a shot as I had wanted, and so my favorite thing on this channel, but I use in basically every video, tried and true, is the binder dividers as gels. Throw that onto the light, just tape it on the front there, and it warms up your light a ton, gives you a lot more color in your shot. I used the black poster board to kind of just add a little bit more of that negative fill on the front of my face on the other side that wasn't towards the light. Something that I've talked about in a lot of videos before is the art of knowing when to add more light and when to take away light. Large dark surfaces are really good for absorbing that light and not reflecting anything back. And then for the last part of this shot, something that people commonly do to show life in your actors is give them what's called an eye light. You may, if I open my eyes nice and wide, you may be able to see it. But that's where our ring light kind of came into play, because it is a much softer source and it's a very small source. And so it was really nice to kind of just throw that on top of the camera and give my eyes just a little bit of shimmer. my apartment never really gets direct sunlight shining through. So in using these mirrors that we bought, initially I had tried to actually use the sunlight and kind of harness that power and bounce that directly back through my bedroom window. But the sun usually stays behind our building and it just wasn't peeking out to the point where the mirror was doing anything. So instead of doing that, I opted for using my light and kind of doing the same technique. Obviously, this isn't a very direct light, as we learned in my last video. So using the mirror helps to direct that light to one specific area and give it the shape that it lacks when you're just shooting it straight. Mirrors are a really great way to get basically the exact same look as the sun itself, in meaning that like they are super sharp. Like if you use a mirror to reflect light, it will basically give you the exact outline of that mirror. So I thought that, maybe to try and avoid this, we could use a certain spray to help diffuse it and give it a little bit more of a soft reflection. All that I could find in the store was just like cooking spray. And so I figured, if you spray that down and you wipe it down enough, it'll give you kind of that smudged, soft kind of look. For basically all of these shots, I opted in using the other mirror that didn't have any of that done because, yeah, it worked. It did soften out the light. It was kind of more of a mess than anything. But the only other thing that had to be done in doing this shot was then now figuring out a way to mount this little hand mirror onto whatever the heck I have available. These specific clamps really came in clutch because the beauty of this is that, I could push it, as small as I wanted. I have all this room here to duct tape whatever on planet Earth I want to, and in this case it was a mirror. So I'm sure everyone has seen the Blade Runner 2049 effect at some point in their lives. Well, those super cool light designs that they have bouncing everywhere are called water caustics. I figured for this last shot I would just bring back the mirror and try to do this effect. It took me many tries to actually get this right. How did they do it? And that's due to just one thing: distance. Reflections don't act like a regular light source does. I don't know all of the scientific reasons for why that is, but what I do know is that you need to have a very direct and bright source of light for this to even work. After a ton of trial and error, I was getting so fed up because the caustics were just so small on the wall. But with some help from Brooke, I finally realized that the further away from the wall the water was, the more room it had to reflect, and the bigger that the reflection would be. So after nailing that down, I kind of wanted to continue with color and implementing color into the shot. And so I thought, why not give this almost like swimming pool-esque kind of effect and throw a blue gel on there. I figured this would also really help of kind of having that color contrast of having the blue light kind of be lighting up the walls and then having a bit more of a warmer light on me. To do that, I used the ring light basically like right behind my head. And then of course I wanted more light on my face because all the light at this point was either coming from the wall behind me or from the backlight. So I opted for using another bounce technique, which is basically just shooting a light straight into something white and having that reflect back on your face. For this one, I was using my light bar and it was already a decently soft source. It did kind of give a bit of a really nice fill on the side of my face. I tried throwing in that little RGB practical light behind me to kind of give a bit of a motivation for the backlight. It didn't really work. I don't know, that was kind of a waste of money. And then a surprise fourth shot, a little bonus for this video, is actually what you're seeing right now. Now, I'm not exclusively using stuff that we bought at the dollar store. I've got my light outside. I'm not sure if you can tell, but I've got some haze in the room as well. But I am using, binder divider that we brought out on the light out there. I'm using the ring light, pretty much just by itself to give this fill on my face. And honestly, for a $4 light, it's doing a really good job. So, you know, it's not the most complicating of setups. I don't think it's necessarily the best of this video either. But I mean, you know, it goes to show that a lot of this stuff that I buy, you know, for these types of videos goes past the shots that we just do in the video. Like, I use a lot of this stuff for my everyday use. I mean, I'll probably get years worth of use out of these stupid little clamps because they're useful, and like this poster board too. Obviously, these aren't the greatest shots known to man, but hopefully this video can inspire you guys to go out and use these really inexpensive tools to elevate your lighting game. You know, no matter where you live, I come from a very, very small town, and even we had a dollar store. So it all goes to show that, you know, it's not entirely what equipment you have, although that does play a big factor in a lot of these things. It's mostly just, you know, what can you do with what you have available to you? How much creativity do you have when working with your surroundings? Because you can create beautiful images out of dollar store items. A special thank you to Ryan. I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce his last name. I'm not sure if it's Cow or if it's like KO, but his video really helped me along this process, and it really inspired me to kind of create this video and to do a lot of this stuff. So please go check his video out. It's really well done. Please let me know if you want another video in this style. As challenging as it was really fun to kind of see what I could come up with a lot of this random dollar store stuff. And some of it I didn't even use. So if you guys want a part 2 to this, if you want a different challenge, different video, maybe we use different tools from somewhere else, let me know down in the comments. I'd love to hear what you thought. Please make sure if you like this video to press the like button, and if you want to stick around and see more of the stuff that we do around here, please subscribe. It really means a lot to me to see when new people enjoy the content and think it's worthy of subscribing. Thank you so much for sticking around, for watching this video. Go be creative, and I'll see you in the next one.